What's goody, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at again with a brand new video. And I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. Day 7 and 8 of padded training camp sessions for the Panthers are probably the most interesting pair of days for the team so far this year. Day 7 was on Tuesday, and we had a live stream that was co-starred by Jonathan Stewart with Christian Balboni. I was really looking forward to seeing some things out of Jonathan Stewart and seeing what he thought about the running backs, the offense, and maybe get a little bit of his insight on the linebackers, because you know running backs and linebackers definitely have some sort of relationship because they be seeing each other a lot. But then we saw Coach Rev Rule switch it up on us. He said, we're not going to have the same schedule. We're not going to do the same things over and over again in the same order. He had team drills first. So after stretches, they went straight into their team drills, and the team just could not stream what was going on there. So it was a very short stream with him and Kristen. They just talked a bunch and joked a little bit. So we couldn't really get much out of the live stream, but there still was some breakdown and some notes that came out afterwards. Later on in the afternoon, we saw that fumbles were a really big problem, and the team really focused on both sides of that issue by having drills where the defensive player is trying to punch the ball out of the player's hands and the offensive player is trying to keep the ball in their arm. And I think that works really well for this team because obviously we've seen very recently that on offense, keeping the ball in our hands has been a problem, not just for the quarterbacks, but for one receiver in particular. Now, DJ Moore only did have one fumble last year, but we still got to make sure we got that in-ground in his head. Like, look, bro, we got to make sure that ball do not come out at all this year. We know what was going on with Kyle Allen. And on defense, we are going to need to have, a lot of turnovers, taking the ball away, limiting the time your defense is on the field, and giving your offense, which we all understand is the strength of this Panthers team moving into this season, is going to be the most important factor to try to rack up some wins, get that record up. I mean, it sounds like the team is not trying to tank. It looks like from the way we're picking up new players on both sides of the ball, we ain't trying to tank. We're trying to see exactly how good we can be. And if we lose, it won't be because we didn't try. So the way I see it, this is a really good strategy to kill two birds with one stone. And hopefully this season we can see the offense hold on to the ball more and our defense create a little bit more pressure later on in the season as well, because we know in the early part of the season we were getting sacks and interceptions. And after like game 9, we saw those numbers slide off like a cliff. Honestly, it was a sharp decline. So that's one thing we really worked on in day 7. Christian McCaffrey had the only touchdown in the scrimmage sessions. It is what it is. Dante Jackson actually blocked a field goal from Joey Slye. And that's the big thing about Dante. Whatever I say about his coverage skills, the man is an athlete. The dude is strong. He is fast. He will come off that corner. I have no doubt it's a part of his game that can really become an asset for the team in the future. We also saw Troy Pride Jr. get a pick on a 2-point conversion, try to run it back. He got tackled. But that's a really good thing to see because we haven't really heard too much about Troy Pride in these training camp sessions. We've heard a lot about other guys on offense and on defense, but it's been kind of quiet for him, and he's been making some waves kind of quietly behind the scenes, and there's been some talk from Rev Rule about maybe making Troy Pride maybe not a starter, but it sounds like his name is getting even more priority when it comes to the depth chart, so he may become a starter by the time the regular season rolls around, but right now he is starting to shine a little bit more in training camp. Jeremy Chinn was working with the linebackers, and that's been a really big question for us so far in this offseason. He could be a strong safety. He could be a linebacker. He could switch off. But we want to see exactly what he can do. And Matt Rule said he has to get better at, being more consistent, coming off those blocks. If he really wants to be a linebacker this season, he said that Jeremy Chinn would most likely start. The only question is, where would he be? And I am very interested to see where he starts myself, because if he doesn't start at strong safety, then who exactly will we have there at strong safety? I think having Tahir Whitehead, Shaq Thompson, and Jeremy Chinn sounds great for our linebacking core, but I want to see who plays the strong safety spot because I think we have a lot of guys who can play coverage, but I don't know how many other guys we have who can play coverage, but also be an in-the-box run stopper at the position there. So I want to see a little bit more out of that if it's not going to be Jeremy Chinn. And from what I've been reading, Andre Smith has stepped up a little bit there. I don't know if it was about his run stopping or if it's coverage, but Andre Smith has never been all that bad in run stopping, in my opinion, or just being a linebacker, but he has been horrible in coverage. He's just not fast. He cannot cover. I don't think he has really the ball hawk abilities or even the awareness to be a decent coverage linebacker. That was the main reason you really couldn't put him on the field. And especially this year, you cannot have Tahir Whitehead and Andre Smith on the field at the same time because that is barbecue chicken alert. That about does it for day 7. Just last night, day 8, we saw a digital virtual fan fest. It was pretty cool. The Panthers went ahead and they streamed the practice at night live from Bank of America Stadium, the Vault. It felt cool, but it really didn't feel the same. It didn't really feel all that special, especially because if you know anything about other sports, it was overshadowed by something even bigger. We saw the NBA playoffs come to a stall. They stopped everything. The Bucks boycotted the game against the Magic, and then all the games got canceled. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll be 100% honest with you right now. I love my Panthers, but I was fully prepared to not watch this Panthers practice and just wait for, the tweets and the updates and the overall coverage to come out just so I could watch some more basketball. The NBA playoffs have been good all the way through. Maybe not the Bucks Magic series, but I was prepared, to watch LeBron over our Panthers, but it really did remind us, as if we needed more reminding, that there were some very serious things going on right now, and that sports, while they are important to our society, there are some other things going on, and Tahir Whitehead made sure he voiced his opinion on that. So did Matt Rule. If you watched the practice, the first thing you noticed was the noise. There was fake crowd noise being pumped in, and there was also music being played on top of that. It was probably real annoying to the players and probably to the coaches, but that's what you're going to have to deal with when it's game time, and that really focuses on making sure your focus is right, because we have seen over the past few days there's been multiple and consistent reports of both the offense and defense having pre-snap penalties, guys in the neutral zone, offensive line false starting consistently throughout this training camp session, and that is an issue of focus and an issue of discipline. You need to be ready when the game time comes, and you can't just be practicing when it's dead quiet, when it's not hard to hear the count, or when you can just, focus dead straight tunnel vision on what you're going to be doing. The real test is if you can perform your duties when there are distractions around you, and we need to see our team do that. And those weren't the only things that derailed the practice a little bit. We saw that Seth Roberts was still in protocol. He wasn't really playing. He had the green jersey on, but he could not actually, get in there. Eli Apple was out with a hamstring. So we're seeing ourselves, having less guys out there, guys who I think are fighting for a spot on the team. Seth Roberts, kind of, but definitely Eli Apple. He's going to have to prove himself heavily, because we've been seeing some guys really step up at all levels in the secondary. So Eli got to really get back on the field and do something to impress these coaches. But other than those things, most of what we saw last night was actually pretty impressive. We saw our new receivers, Cam Phillips and Darrell Stewart, come through. We saw them work with the quarterbacks and whatnot. And just about all the quarterbacks had really good nights. I'm talking about PJ. We saw Teddy Bridgewater have some good throws. And even Will Grier, I think he completed the most passes of the quarterbacks. Now, Teddy was the only guy to get a touchdown, but he was also the only quarterback to get an interception. That was Cole Luke on a pass to Christian McCaffrey. And it wasn't just the offense looking good. We saw Stephen Weatherly, a linebacker, get 2 sacks. And I've been seeing his name come up even more often in these post-practice interviews and these write-ups. So Stephen Weatherly is probably doing some impressing amongst these coaches right now. We saw that Joey Slye was consistent with his field goal success. Joey Slye was looking really consistent with his field goal success. I was feeling really good about just about all parts of our offense and our defense in this practice session. And what you're seeing on your screen is a few one-on-ones that we saw last night. One was Christian McCaffrey against Tahir Whitehead. One was Curtis Samuel versus TJ Green. That was a pass from Will Grier. And the last one is DJ and Teddy going up against Troy Pride. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of all these videos, man. But that's all I got for you for right now, man. What are your thoughts on the training camp sessions, on these videos, on what you're hearing out of the Panthers, man? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.